Hi and welcome to my presentation on how to get a developer on board with your technical SEO suggestions. Before I get started, my name is Billie Hyde. I'm an account manager at the SEO Works, an agency based in Sheffield. If you do want to get in touch at all, drop me an email or you can find me on basically any social media under the handle @BillieGina. I've put this presentation together because I know a few SEOs who make some really valid suggestions to developers and get them turned down. And after speaking with them, I found that the reasoning why is likely the way they were presenting the issues. So in this presentation, we're going to look at why a developer might dismiss your suggestions, why your ideas might have been turned down in the past, and how to present your suggestions to them going forward. So to start with, let's look at why your ideas may have been turned down. The most common thing is you might have oversimplified it. I know so many SEOs that will send over suggestions they found on tools like SiteBulb. They'll run the crawl, find all of these issues, and then just export and send it over word for word. I spoke to a few developers about this and they found that these suggestions from the tools were actually quite patronising. They also found them a little long-winded and one developer thought they was a bit vague. The kind of feedback I was given is that they found the tool were making a bit of a mountain out of a molehill or giving pointers for something that was really valid, however it wasn't actually explaining the implications, so the developer said they'd probably just dismiss that if they didn't know better. So always just consider what you're sending across. Using things like SiteBulb, the suggestions aren't always appropriate, so just don't copy them word for word. Do a little additional research where you can. Another issue is you've not provided enough examples. It is all about the evidence. You need to prove that the issue is valid. However, when you are sending across your suggestions, don't spend hours crawling to find hundreds or thousands of examples right away. Just send them across a few, maybe 20 or 30. So a bit more than a few really. Depending on how large the site is, it's just really not worth your time trying to find them all right away. If a developer does agree to make this a focus, you can then go back and find more instances, or depending on what the issue is, a developer might be able to just run a quick script and be able to pull all examples. So there's no point in wasting your time. Another issue is the way it was communicated wasn't right. So before taking anything to a developer, just take some extra time and research the issue. Just try and be as well informed as possible. And you also need to consider the platform, any implications, and how vital the issue may appear to a developer. You really just need to think about what you're going to say to them. Don't go over and being like, the page speed is too slow, I need it to increase. You need to really think about it. Do you remember at school where they used to use the acronym P in English, point, evidence, explain? It's very much the same with this. So make your point. I'd like to look at improving the site's page speed. Give your evidence. Google Developer Tools says it's slow. And then explain, give them a full explanation, the implications, etc. Just give them as much information as possible. So now we're going to look at how to present your ideas to a developer. So first, think about the developer that you're pitching to. They probably have multiple tickets open and yours might not be a high priority. They also have different priorities to you. So if they don't understand, well, they'll understand, but they'll probably not be on the same level of urgency for when you do give them a suggestion. And don't be offended by that. It's two different jobs with two different focuses. And then you also need to think about why they could say no. Is it a really big job? Does it have a good return of investment? The key points you do need to consider are what the cost, time and energy requirements are. Although the task might sound simple, is it really worth doing? You could spend hours and hours reformatting URLs, but is that really going to give you the return of investment that you're looking for? Like, is the job actually worth doing is a very big thing to consider. And have you done enough research? Like, you need to look at everything you can. Look at the site. What's it hosted on? Like, what language is it built on? Does it have the capabilities to do what you're wanting it to do? And just be as specific as possible. You're much more likely to get your improvements implemented. So the way I tend to pitch is I highlight how urgent the issue is. I give them an area which the issue falls under. I then explain in one sentence or less what the issue is, what its implications are, how can it be resolved. I then give them the examples. So here is how I would do this in a spreadsheet. So you can see I have the area of improvement in which I then use the traffic light format to show the urgency. I've got my issues, I've got my implications, I've got my suggested resolutions, the links to the affected URLs. I also include a status so I can see if it's actually been started or not. And then this is more kind of for me, but I include completion ticks and notes so that way I can just see if it's actually been done. Some developers really thrive having this format. Other developers I know would much prefer to just have an email. So if I was sending something as an email, this is how I would do this. This example is one that I've recently done where somebody on the site decided to add canonicals to every single page pointing to the home page. And it was a nice little Friday afternoon stress for us all, but it's fine now. I basically just said, I've come across this issue, it's pretty major. I then highlighted what the issue was. I then said why the issue is bad. I explained the implications. I attached all of the examples, and then I reiterated it needed doing urgently, and then again highlighted the implications. And we luckily managed to fix that in one afternoon. Still don't know why it was decided that was a good idea, but it's just really important to reiterate and explain, I think, when doing things on email, especially because in an email people tend to read in as like a Z, so they kind of just pick out points. So that's why I repeat myself quite a bit in this. But using this always tends to help, and I do tend to get most things pushed through. If a developer does turn down your suggestions, you need to ask them why, because it can help you in the future. If you're presenting to them, you can kind of know what they're looking for. It also gives you the opportunity to kind of push back on things. If it's like it doesn't sound like a big enough issue, you can be like, well, it is, here's some more evidence, I can provide more data on this. It allows you to also get to know the priorities of the developer better. So the key takeaways from this are to always give examples, tell them how an issue affects the sites. Do not ever forget the implications, because without them, the developer will just probably ignore it, really, if they don't understand how vital it is. You need to be clear and informed. And again, just to reiterate, if they turn down your suggestion, ask them why. So thank you for listening to me for the last 11 minutes, just ramble away. Again, my name's Billie Hyde. If you want to talk about anything, drop me a message, and enjoy the rest of Crawl Error. Thank you. Bye.